Hiya, I'm ThatJaymsWisdom and this is And Another Thing, and today I'm going to be talking about the Pixel 2 launch and all the craziness that happened last weekend. Hiya, so welcome to And Another Thing, and today is going to be one of those ones where I talk about a couple of different topics as usual, but I'd like to start off by talking about the heavier stuff first, I think. So, last weekend, not the weekend just gone, the weekend before that, beginning of the month, like very first day or two of the month, of October, that is, this year, 2017, there was a bunch of craziness going on across the world where just the world seemed to go completely insane. So we had the one that everybody's heard about, loads of people have been talking about it for obvious reasons, was the Las Vegas shooting, which happened, I think, on the Monday. It was the first it happened, which I think was the Monday. Anyway, that happened on the 1st of October. And just before that, we had a couple of other crazy things as well. So we had the Las Vegas shooting, which was the worst shooting in America on record, the worst mass shooting on record, where someone from a hotel room with multiple weapons just took aim and shot into a crowd of people at a concert and killed nearly 60 people. And then wounded, very badly wounded, a lot of other people, including about 180 people or 130 people or something like that, who were shot and not killed, who went to the hospital and shot and not killed in the end. Which is just crazy numbers, just absolutely insane. And everybody's going to be talking about, gun laws and whether guns are okay and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to put my opinion across on this particular video. Generally speaking, I am against guns being used without heavy restrictions. Like, I don't think that they should be completely outright banned, because that's not going to do anything. But I do think they should be much more heavily restricted, but other than that, I'm not going to talk anything about that. But at that point, when I was hearing about that news, I was already neck deep in the news hearing about Catalonia and their vote to try and become independent from mainland Spain, or from the main part of Spain, because of all the craziness that was going on around there. And this people have been talking about, but it was very much overshadowed by all of the Las Vegas shooting stuff. Just like another terror attack was over that weekend, where in Edmonton in Canada there was a terrorist attack very similar to one we had in London, where someone took a van and just ran some people down and then shot a police officer, that kind of thing. That happened, I think they stabbed a police officer, sorry, rather than shot a police officer, but that happened in Canada, but was completely overshadowed by a bunch of other stuff. But the main thing I was looking at, and the thing that I was kind of completely appalled by, was Catalonia. And I don't know if most of you had heard about this, because, as I say, a lot of it was overshadowed by what was going on in the US with the Las Vegas shooting. But Catalonia were taking a referendum, a vote, to decide whether they would become independent from the rest of Spain. And of course, the rest of Spain, or the main government, the central government of Spain, was not particularly fond of this idea. Catalonia is a sort of region in Spain, if that makes sense. And they have a major city there. I think it's Barcelona. Barcelona is there. And obviously mainland Spain does not want them to leave. But they've been talking about whether or not they leave for a while, because all of these areas, these districts, or these states, or whatever they're called, are run separately, with separate sort of smaller governments overseen by a larger government. Makes sense. But Catalonia were talking about leaving, and leaving Spain altogether to become completely independent. Now, Spain decided, or mainland Spain, or the central Spanish government deemed this completely unconstitutional and illegal, and said, nope, can't do it, not allowed. And then, not only that, but when the vote was going on, and all the people, the Catalan people, were going out to vote, they sent in military police to stop people from voting. And the brutality of that police force, which, as I say, was a military police force, so really it doesn't resemble a police force to me so much as it does a military unit that has the word police attached to it, were ripping people out of queues who were going to vote. They were tearing down polling booths. They were, basically stopping people from voting at all. Now, the vote in itself ended up being fairly, not unanimous, but there was a very high percentage. I think it was around 75%, 72%, something like that, of people who voted to leave Spain. And there are a bunch of reasons that could be. In part, it was only about 42 or something percent of votes actually ended up getting counted, or 42% of people who actually went out to vote, or registered voters actually got votes counted, whether or not they went out to vote and then they had their vote removed by this military police force or whatever it was. That is hard to tell, basically. And also, of course, the people that wanted to stay in Spain, or as part of main Spain, probably didn't go out and vote because they were told by Spain that it was an illegal vote anyway, so they probably didn't want to go out and risk the police force, didn't want to go out and do anything to risk themselves if they just wanted to stay. So there's a lot that can be said there, but it's very disheartening to see all of that happening, because it was really, really bad in terms of the government just trying to take away people's rights or take control of this situation in such a heavy-handed, stupid way, where you saw firefighters, Catalonian firefighters and Catalonian police standing up against, or standing in protection of, the general citizens, of people going out to vote or whatever, and then the military police beating on those people, but police beating other police, beating on firefighters who, you know, they spend their lives saving people from fires. I mean, they are heroes. They're the closest thing we have to real life superheroes in the world, firefighters. And this military police force went out and they were attacking these people, and it was just awful. It was absolutely tragic, really. It was an absolutely tragic course of events. And a friend of mine who I know from Spain, she said she was very disappointed in her country. She was thankfully okay. She was there, and then she was in Barcelona. That's right, isn't it? I think, yes. And then she went back to Madrid, or the other way around. I forget which way around it is, but I think she went back to Madrid, which is where she lives. And she saw all of this stuff happening, and she was absolutely gobsmacked by it, and it was awful. So, you know, there was a lot going on that weekend, and it was a really devastating weekend. And it's like, you look at that weekend and you go, oh man, what has happened to the world? What are people doing? What's government doing? What's everyone else doing? And it was just, a bit of a disaster. So my opinions on that don't really matter. Just everybody who was affected by those things, Christ, I'm sorry. You know, I wish people were better to one another. That would be my first thought on the matter. But, you know, that I just wanted to sort of talk about that, just because it was such an important thing. I felt like not talking about it when this thing I do here is about talking about the stuff that happened that was important in the last 2 weeks. Nothing was more important than those things there. But I did want to talk about something a little bit lighter, as well as all of that craziness for this video. Unless, of course, you are a big fan of the headphone jack, and then you're not going to be such a big fan of this news. But Google released a press announcement with all of their stuff about the new Google phone, the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL, the larger version of it, as well as a few other bits of technology that they're releasing as well. So you have the Google Home device, which is like your Alexa or all those kind of things, where you say, okay, Google to it, and it will take commands and you can do whatever it is, like do a Google search and all of that kind of thing. That they released and announced. They released a sort of, I think they call it the Pixel Book or something like that, which is like a laptop / tablet. So a tablet with an attached keyboard that folds up and all of that kind of thing, which looks like a good bit of kit, but it's quite expensive, so not something I'm massively interested in. Some earbuds and some other bits and pieces as well. The important thing to me, though, was the phone itself. So they have released this phone, or the phone's coming out in 2 weeks. It's released for pre-orders now, and to be completely honest with you, the hardware doesn't look that fantastic. It looks okay. It's very generic looking, but the main draw of this is that it is the top end internal workings. You know, you got the top end processor, 4 gigs of RAM, all of those kind of things. The great camera with improvements, all the stuff they did well on the Pixel, but in a slightly higher powered, better bit of kit, really. So that's what they've done, and I have to say that I was looking and I'm really of two minds about it because it's a phone I'm considering getting. Now the Pixel 2, absolutely out the window for me, not interested at all. It's got a tiny screen compared to the other models that are the top end models in that range now. So it's not got the sort of bezel-less screen. It's got two massive chunks, one at the top, one at the bottom. Maybe I'll put a picture up here. One at the top, one at the bottom, and then still down the sides. And otherwise, absolutely looks fine, but I don't want to go for that small screen. The XL, however, does look really, really good. It has much smaller bezels. It's gone much more towards the design of things like the Galaxy S8. So that looks good. The big thing to kind of tell the world about, I guess, of course, is that it has confirmed there is no headphone jack on either of these devices, which is kind of funny because of Google taking the mick out of Apple so hard when they released the Pixel. Because when Google released their original Pixel, part of their advertisement campaign was how new everything was and how exciting everything was, except that headphone jack. We've kept that for you guys. It's gone. Now it's gone. It's just a USB-C connector in the bottom, and that's it. It's a USB-C connector, no other ports. But that said, the Pixel XL does look really, really good in terms of hardware and the software. The big draw for these things, of course, is the software with the newest build of Android, most up-to-date build of Android, which is Oreo. Got the Google Assistant, it's got all of that kind of stuff. And it's non-skinned, basically. So it's all with the default Android skin, meaning that you don't have to worry about the Samsung Gumph or the LG Gumph, or whatever it is, like other kind of looks and feels and workings of Android that are put over the top by other companies. So for me, that's the main draw, is that. It's also meant that I've started looking at headphones. Now for me, the whole headphone jack thing is one of the biggest things here. So I would absolutely go for the Pixel XL if it weren't for that lack of headphone jack, because that will mean I will have to buy new headphones. I need new headphones anyway, but it will mean I need to buy new headphones. And I'm of two minds as to whether I'm just legitimizing the removal of the headphone jack, or whether I'm resisting it because of the fact that I can't quite work out where I stand. Am I being old-fashioned by saying, well, I want these headphones, they're more convenient because I already own them, in the way that, you know, my parents would be, is like, well, I don't need this device, I don't need this, I don't need to be forced into this, that and the other, I'm perfectly happy with doing things the way I've been doing them all this time? Or is it a case of I'm just making that excuse so that I can legitimize getting this phone without the headphone jack? Now, I can't work it out. I think that absolutely there is a better way of doing it. So I feel like supplying wireless headphones, or having wireless headphones as the standard thing, and as having headphone companies releasing headphones that are more wireless, or all headphones come with wireless, or you have the jack, the 3.5 jack in both ends, so that headphones start to become more and more wireless. And you just like kind of phase out that technology that way, rather than having those companies being forced to phase it out by phones saying, nah, we don't want that anymore, we just want the wireless and that's it. Because I was talking to my uncle, who is absolutely resistant to technology, and his first thoughts about this were actually that, yeah, it makes sense that they would get rid of that headphone jack. It is one of the places where you're most likely to lose the sound quality, and to reduce the sound quality if you've got not the right cable or the plug and all that kind of thing. He's a bit of an audiophile, so one of those things. But yeah, it's something that I've been considering. So now I've put myself in a position where I'd actually like to ask you guys that are watching this video now, what phone do you think I should get? Should I go for the Pixel 2 XL, or Pixel 2 XL, and just get some new headphones and run with it? It does come with the jack, by the way. It comes with a converter for the bottom if you wanted to use old headphones. Or should I go with something like the LG V30, which has a different version of Android, so not the most up-to-date version of Android. It has the LG skin on it, but still has the headphone jack. Now, what do you think I should do? Something like that, or something like the Google Pixel? But But yeah, that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know anything else, I can probably tell you stuff in the comments. If you want to speak to me in the comments, go ahead. Keep smiling. Thank you very kindly, and I'll see you next week for a Naked Truth. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, all of that nonsense. You can check out my other and another things below me, and beside that is a playlist of my Naked Truth videos.